This week, I'm going to show you a quick and striking way to get the brand new Necron Doomstalker painted and ready for the table. Hey guys, I'm Angela and welcome back to Hobby Night. This week, as we are in October and nearing Halloween, I thought it was time for us to paint a terrifying alien construct from another planet, the Necron Doomstalker. I was at my friendly local game store and debating what we wanted to add to our Necron army now that we have our hands on the new codex, and this guy really struck me as something that I wanted to paint and would be a good addition to the army and sort of reminded me of the Blight Hauler that I had painted earlier. So I also thought this would be a great opportunity to expand on my dry brushing technique for my Necron army by adding a little bit of Tesseract Glow into the mix. And I hope you guys enjoy it and like what I'm gonna do with it. So let's go ahead and get into what paints we'll be using in today's video. Today we have started by priming the Doomstalker in Alien Purple from Army Painter. And we've kept the big boy in 6 pieces to make the rest of today's painting job 10 times easier. Our 3 dry brush colors will be Thousand Suns Blue, followed by Ahriman Blue, and then Moot Green for popping details. Tesseract Glow Technical Paint over white will then be used on the cables and orbs because I want the Doom parts of this Doomstalker to stand out. And finally, to finish his base, we will be using Martian Ironearth as the bright red surface will stand in stark contrast to the blue-green machine. For this Dynasty's color scheme, we chose an analogous gradient of cool purple to warm green. I say warm because green is often a cool color tone, but with the saturation and tint of the color we'll be using today, it's going to give us an energy glow effect that screams Necron. You can do this with any analogous color scheme. As you can see here with my destroyers, I still use the same purple base tone, but I then layered a red, orange, and yellow on top to create a fiery effect on the claws. Make sure that if you're trying this analogous color scheme at home, you are picking colors that are brighter than the previous colors you layered down. For example, if you're using the purple and then layering red on top of it, you want to make sure that the red is brighter than the purple base tone. This will help make sure that you pop details and build color and keep it bright. I began by spray coating all 6 pieces in 2 coats of Alien Purple spray by Army Painter. If you wanted, you could push the color darker with an additional wash or shade. I began with a heavy dry brush of Thousand Suns Blue. For this layer, I left a bit more paint on the bristles of my brush than I did in later steps. This ensured that I got great coverage over the entire miniature. These tucked away areas are why I kept the miniature in pieces, to ensure that I could reach every surface with paint to build up a beautiful gradient of color. Our Necron army has an intentionally limited color palette, but that doesn't mean we can't ensure that the ruins that come with this new kit don't stand out. So much like the robot, the stones and rubble will also be dry brushed in Thousand Suns. With our base layer dry and looking lovely, we're going to move on to bring out additional details using Ahriman Blue. For this next pass of dry brushing, I removed more paint from my brush using a paper towel than in the previous step. I also made sure to use less pressure on the brush while applying the paint to minimize the risk of overpowering the previous color I just put down. This will be the last overall dry brush that we'll be applying to the ruins as well as the mini itself. This will help distinguish the ruins from the Doomstalker later on. Our Doomstalker is feeling a bit blue though, so maybe it's time to make the mech feel a bit more Necron-y. This is my favorite part of our dynastic color scheme, adding the bright green. For this step, I'm going to make sure I have as little paint as I can on my brush, as I don't want to push the green too far. To build it up takes a bit more time than our previous steps, but it's worth it for the effect we achieve. So take your time and be patient, especially with these larger minis. I even pulled out a smaller dry brush to really focus on specific areas, such as around the orbs. I'm going to make those pop here in a moment, and I want to ensure a glowing effect around them, as well as a bit of spot dry brushing on the terrain.
Angela! What is all this?
I might have a problem. I have too many minis to paint, and not enough subscribers to encourage me to do it, so don't forget to subscribe, like, and share the videos.
In order to get the brightest effect out of our Tesseract Glow, our next paint, I first need to reprime the orbs, cords, and other select areas on the Doomstalker in white. So, using a brush with a good tip on it, I get to work. This does take a few layers, as painting white over a darker color tends to. I did find ceramite white worked well for me here, and my cleanup stage was done in no time at all. Next on getting our big, scary alien construct painted is to layer Tesseract Glow on all of the now white areas, and my goodness is this step satisfying. Almost immediately I achieved the effect I wanted, although the color was a bit on the yellow side after only a single coat, so I applied a second thin coat after the first had dried. The orbs especially needed a second layer to help with any streakiness that had occurred as the paint dried over a curved surface. Once the Tesseract Glow dried, I did go back in with Moot Green to catch just the edges of the surrounding areas near the Tesseract Glow to really push that glow further. The final step in getting our Doomstalker table ready is finishing his base. So for that, we will grab our Martian Ironearth texture paint, scoop up copious amounts onto the base with our texture tool, and spread it in a thick coat for a nice crackle effect as it dries. I chose to overlap the actual ruined features in a few places, especially along the edges where I could blend the ruins into the base properly. After you have a relatively even layer of texture paint on the base, set it aside and let the crackle paint dry thoroughly to ensure you get the best effect. I left mine to dry overnight before adding any tufts or grasses.
And here he is. And I know I say this a lot, but I'm super pleased with how this mini came out. I've been challenging myself by trying to paint bigger minis because I tend to work a lot smaller, and sometimes working on the bigger minis scares me, and I do want to be able to tackle like the Silent King and Mortarion in the future for both of our armies. And this guy has given me an opportunity to further work on my fears of working on bigger minis, and also he looks great with my army. I just love how my color scheme has turned out. This analogous color scheme works beautifully and I absolutely adore it. I've put him next to the destroyers that I have done, and I haven't put him next to my warriors or anything like that, but also the ghost arc that I have done. And he just looks fantastic. I cannot wait to post pictures on Instagram and show you guys exactly how the entire army is coming along. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video and learning how I have been painting my Necron army. I really enjoy the Tesseract Glow that I've added to the mix. Let me know what you guys think of it down in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. I'll see you guys next time for another painting video and another news video next week.